It's always really intriguing to me when I find another one trick that's just adapted his champion so well to the higher echelons of the ladder that they make it work against any champion. As we all know, Riven is an S+ tier champion at the moment, but we're watching Twitch TV Makkro today on his signature Ornn one trick. He's played this champion all the way to Challenger. I think he's on like 200 games. His next highest played is Aatrox, which is at like 20 games. All of his things going to be in the description below. This game is actually straight off his YouTube channel, and there's also a VOD for it on his Twitch. So if you guys want to check him out, go ahead. I've never seen him make a tank look so mechanical before. He's a very, very entertaining player to watch, very smart about the game as well. The thing that intrigues me the most about this guy is the way that he plays. So I'm going to explain the matchup in a second. You guys have seen the runes already at the start of the game and all that kind of thing, and the combo at the start of the video as well, like that sort of thing. I just didn't even know Ornn was capable of. So this guy's a bit of a pioneer when it comes to Ornn. Loves stringing out new build paths and the most effective rune and summoner spell setups for each matchup. As we see this game, he actually goes the exhaust and the teleport. I also hope you guys can hear the game sound and stuff okay. I would normally use a replay out of League of Graphs or something like that, but I couldn't find one that wasn't a VOD, so we're going to have to deal with his own music today, which is absolutely fine, but just something else different. I actually kind of like this perspective too, because we can see his own clicks, but you can't see the minimap, but I'll try and explain what's going on either way. So we have Ornn versus Riven today. This matchup's actually not too bad for the Riven. It gives her kind of like more of an opening to just farm herself, but as we see in the level 1, he's led the lane with a slow push. His strategy with this matchup that I've read, I've done a little bit of research in this video so far, and it's a very, very smart strategy. As I said before, he's a very smart player. He leads with a lot of armor. So obviously, as we know, with Ornn's passive Living Forge, he can craft items without going to base. As Riven takes Nullifying Orb into this matchup. Very interesting election of rune, either way, especially with a Rengar topside. They actually have an Alistar mid this game as well. As we see, he's getting Riven quite low. He does a very, very good job at spacing out the matchup quite well. I also think Doran's Blade is probably one of the worst, if not the worst, starting item you can go into this matchup as Riven. But either way, I digress. The way that he plays this, and as I said before, it's very, very smart as Riven tries to freeze the wave, is he just goes for these like kind of little pokey things with his Q and his W. The thing about Ornn versus Riven is that Riven obviously wins in very extended trades with her Conqueror and obviously her CDR. This also is, he's not running Spellbook. So normally this guy runs Spellbook. He's running Grasp, obviously resolves very good into Riven. He goes for a lot of health and a lot of armor. So what a lot of people really fail to recognize with Riven, and it's actually an extremely big weakness of Riven, is that she has absolutely no way to deal with armor. Her ult doesn't give her like penetration or anything like that. She doesn't do any true damage. She doesn't do any mixed damage. She doesn't do any on-hit damage. She's not an Irelia. She's not a Camille. She's not a Fiora. So if you are in the position to be able to stack armor against this champion, she literally can't kill you. As you see, Makkro's strategy is to play it very, very like passive, just play for the farm, build up those little armor items, the components for his Sunfire Aegis, and then look to poke Riven down and then push her under the tower. Ornn can be really oppressive when he's ahead. All of his abilities start to really, really hurt, his Brittle included. The main thing when you're on the side of the Riven in this matchup is you definitely want to be avoiding eating those Brittle autos. So if you're going to E something, eat either his Q or the Brittle autos, because they're the things that are going to hurt the most. But as you see, his items are already looking pretty insane compared to Riven's double Doran's Blade. Riven's definitely not out of the lane just yet, but it's a ticking time bomb when it comes to Ornn, because as soon as he's got his completed armor items, Riven has a really hard time dealing with it, especially when she's electing for 2 starting items like the Doran's Blades. If she goes Gore Drinker as well, she's just going to get a lot of that, a lot of her value out of the Gore Drinker cut, because she's just going to go into a Bramble Vest, which will obviously cut the healing component. Another thing to note as well is, well, you're kind of forcing Riven to go into the Black Cleaver. She does a good job dodging that W there. As I said before, Riven can still do an okay job into the trade, but we need to back off here because her Conqueror is stacked and she's probably looking for an all-in. At the same time as I say that, the reason that he takes Exhaust is because it's an extremely effective rune into Riven. Obviously cancelling, ooh, very nice cancel of the third Q there. In kill pressure, Riven overcommits onto the trade, gets a flash out. Has to use the Exhaust for the obviously movement speed slow and almost is able to hit the knockup with his E, but unlucky. One of the things that, well, a lot of people have been doing on the side of champions that lose to Riven in lane, like Irelia, Yone, Yasuo, all that kind of thing, or they lose like probably pre-6 or just post-6 anyway, is taking Exhaust. Literally makes it so Riven can never fight you unless she's able to bait out your Exhaust. As we see him win that trade pretty heavily there. Riven's obviously half HP. The double Doran's Blade doing a decent job at keeping her alive. Personally, I would have taken a Doran's Shield or a Longsword 3 into this matchup because obviously you're just going to get outscaled anyway. And if you're playing as smart like Makkro is, you're not really going to get the opportunity to kill. Tank matchups, like they're not the most exciting to watch, but the thing, like we have triple cloth armor here, which obviously fills into all of his components. This is a really strong part about armor, is that armor is actually a comparatively, well, armor, just tank items in general, are a comparatively fair, a comparatively weak, comparatively strong, sorry, with the components into building their items. So they're all very cheap, comparative to damage items. Obviously, like Hullbreaker, for example, is kind of like an off-tank item. It's 2,800 compared to most of the damage items in that tier that would do that much, have that much value, are like upwards of 3,300, all that kind of thing. As we see, obviously, his ruby crystals and cloth armor is fitting into basically everything. He does a really good job last hitting this champion. It seems a bit clunky to me. I've only played Ornn like once or twice. Ornn, most tanks don't really fit into my like playstyle, I guess you would say. But that's kind of like what's so appealing about this player, is that he makes Ornn work really well. Like when I play a tank, I'm playing him like a bruiser. It's just the kind of gameplay pattern that I've adopted to myself. I always try to like just jump on the carry and like just lead my team into fights. Whereas with the tank, you need to be like electing your windows whether to freeze. I mean, not whether to freeze, sorry, whether to peel or whether to engage. As we see Riven ulting here, Ornn heavily out trades there without the gank there. Does a very good job at eating away and dodging the Zac ult, as we see the gank turn south for them. The Rengar coming in with a very nice kill on the Riven and then hits the E to guarantee the kill on the Zac. Lovely. Very well played by the Rengar. 8 and 5. So my main thing that I wanted to cover in this game is how to survive versus obviously one of the most oppressive top laners in the game at the moment. And then also translating it into being able to carry fights later, because he gets MVP this game. I'm not going to say what his score is, but either way, very good score on the side of him leading most team fights. The enemy team's definitely not out of this game. It's 8-6, and their Ahri's quite fed mid, and they obviously have an Alistar mid, so they're quite lacking damage. So he's got 65 CS at 8 minutes, which is very good, obviously, on the tank, as Riven's rusty Ionian boots Lucidity, so she's not going to be hurting this guy anytime soon. Personally, probably would have gone Longsword into Caulfield's Warhammer, straight into Black Cleaver, but that's just me. So we're going to see him obviously finish off his Aegis, which goes straight into his Sunfire. Almost on his Mythic as it is. Riven has absolutely no chance of killing this guy. He's got his red buff as MF picks a kill up on their Lucian. As I said before, this game's definitely not over. It's more how he plays his mid-game and late-game team fights that really end up getting his team the win. You guys want to go check him out as well. In all of his, every single game, he has like a really crazy comprehensive Ornn tier list. I'll have that in the description below. Make sure you go check it out after the game. He has literally like rune set, item, build path, like weaknesses, strengths, everything into like every single top laner that there basically is that can be played top. It's a really comprehensive list, actually very impressive to read. Obviously his understanding of the champion and the matchups are crazy. As we look to further push our lead by getting the Demolish proc, obviously Riven doesn't really want to interact with this Ornn, he's way too strong. The scary thing as well when a tank gets this ahead is that he can set up dives quite easily. So like Ornn literally not even hitting the brutal part of his W there got Riven lower than him taking 2 tower shots. So the scary part of this is if Rengar is ever even like looking topside, Ornn just walks under the tower and Riven will die. So you see Rengar pinging on the way here. Riven's just used a third Q. Rengar's taking Herald. We're going to use this top lane. Maybe Riven even dies because he has ult up. Uses the exhaust. Hits there. Surely Riven falls to the Rengar. Lovely. Absolutely. Very well played. Riven just kind of like not really playing weak side, if that makes sense. Like you should be kind of trying to stay as healthy as you can. Like her burning spells there just doesn't really make sense because like you have to kind of think about what you're achieving out of burning all those spells. So like Riven, like her using everything to gap close onto the Ornn there, if Ornn doesn't kill her solo, what's she really going to get out of it? You know, she should be saving her health, saving her abilities to farm up safely because that's the only way she's going to get back into the top lane. She's obviously 0-2 and Ornn building armor. Riven has no way to answer it until she has Black Cleaver and Serilda's Grudge, which probably come 3rd and 4th. Either way, this Ornn is absolutely monstrous. 10-9, so the game is definitely still quite close. We're going to TP bot here to save the plates because their bot lane's struggling a little bit. Their Lucian's almost dying. Use his W's. They go for a dive. Does this work? This Ornn's pretty tanky. Still saving his E. Oh, can you dodge the MF ult? No, I think he'll fall here. I'm actually pretty surprised that he does that. A 3-man dive on like 100% HP Ornn that's quite fed. But either way, just goes to show that their bot lane's quite fed as well. Let's see if Rengar's able to pick anything up. Obviously, Rengar's very fed in his own right. No, this MF's really scary. Is there clips on her already? As Rengar flashes. Is it a flash? And he gets a shutdown as well. Lucian picking up a nice little culling there. MF will fall, even though she has the Renata ability on her. That ability, by the way, does that do like decreased damage or like what's going on here? I'm so confused. We have the Bramble Vest, obviously cutting the healing, very strong against Zac and Riven. Skip ahead a little bit here. We go back to the side lane to look to farm. Just going to be clearing out and stopping Riven from taking plates. Obviously, the plates will let Riven back into the game here. Riven has like no, like look how, like where does this damage even come from on this champion? I just don't understand. I've had games where I've lost against Ornns before, and there's games where I've won and lost against Ornn, but it feels like the longer you play against Ornn, it's just a ticking time bomb because it's just up to a matter of time before his team gets their ornament items. Obviously, very, very scary as they pick up another kill bot lane. 13-13. This game is in anyone's hands. Living forward, Riven's back into the game with her, well, not back into the game, but she's definitely not really that far behind in terms of CS numbers. It's obviously always very, very important to be keeping up in the game in terms of your XP. How did that Alistar just take a tower shot there? Level 8 Alistar, that's their mid laner, by the way. Surely hits E here. Lovely. Dude, that Riven almost got knocked into the sky. Lovely CC chain. Surely we're going to take down this tower with the Demolish proc. Absolutely hitting like a truck. We've got damage on tier 2 after the Herald. 2-1 and 2 on the side of the Ornn. I think the main mechanic with Ornn is what you should be trying to do is eating key CC. So with Ornn's W, I think it's called Bellows Breath. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not even really sure how I remember that. With Bellows Breath, you're unstoppable. So you could eat like a key CC for your ADC and just Bellows Breath it, and then you don't get obviously CC'd. Like you could be standing in front of your team and then just Bellows Breath an Ahri Charm or something like that, or Zac engaging onto your team, etc., etc. There's lots of like little niche mechanics that you can do with that ability. Very cool. This Ahri and Zac sort of pose a bit of a threat because he has no MR just yet, other than the what is that item called? Cloak something or other. Why did I think it was Nullifying Orb? I can't remember. I'm blanking really hard. Either way, Thornmail picked up on the side of the Ornn, straight into the Merc trades. Obviously very smart. Wouldn't be too bad him going into the Tabby here, but we have the Renata bot lane into the MF, into the Ahri, into the Zac. So a lot of tenacity is going to help against this comp quite heavily. His main job here is to peel. Rengar and Lucian are the main damage dealers. If they die, they're going to have a really, really hard time winning fights because they lack damage in the mid lane and in the top lane. Obviously, Ornn can't really deal with damage dealers by himself. He's just going to get kited to oblivion. But Ornn's job here is going to be to peel his carries and make sure that his damage dealers don't die. Once Ornn gets kind of ahead here as well and he has Sunfire Aegis, he can literally just like one-shot waves. It's kind of crazy how easily he farms for a tank as we're changing song, I guess. Move up here. Riven's just, I don't know what she's doing anymore. She's about half HP. Ornn probably would all in here if he had ult. Riven starting to build towards the Gordrinker with the Caulfield's Warhammer and pickaxe picked up. Let's see how he translates this into the next fight. Riven getting half HP'd is an objective up. I can't really tell. He hasn't tabbed in a while, nor was I really paying attention, to be honest. Skip ahead. Leading his team. So I want to actually just touch on something here really quickly because this is a very key component of being a tank. You have to create space for your team. So Ornn is doing a really good job here at allowing his team into the area of where they're going to operate, essentially. So with Ornn, if you're top lane or side lane or something just farming, his team can't even enter the fight here. So when you're playing a tank like this or a bruiser or kind of any frontline champion, you need to be thinking everyone has the safety because you can face check and not get one shot. Like they're not going to burn all these key spells on just you. They want to be killing carries. Ornn can lead his team in here. So see how his whole team comes in behind him very kind of like safely, I guess you would say. He can easily just posture Zac off the way, Zac off the objective, all that kind of thing. Surely we'll see a Zac steal attempt here as he's kind of just zoning the MF. Just goes for what just happened? Where did their MF go? Oh, sorry, I didn't see that the Ornn had built Infinity Edge. My bad. Ornn just one-shotting the MF there. Really, really smart ult. We obviously have very good awareness in this fight. Riven getting exhausted. Ahri going for the flash charm there on the Rengar. Alistar knocking him up. Renata casting her thing on Riven. She's got it ignited. She will die. Really, really good awareness there. Oh, as he cancels the charm with his E. That was actually really, really smart. I like that. I didn't even know that was a mechanic either. Or maybe he just has that much tenacity that it only lasts a little bit and he E'd out of it. Either way. Very good awareness to see the MF there. Obviously, with the Zac engaging, if Zac knocks up multiple targets, then Ornn can just... Zac knocks up multiple targets, MF can just ult through the entire Dragon Pit and just wipe the enemy team. So very good awareness of him. I mean, normally, like, as I said at the start of the game, it's about identifying what your role is as this tank, as Ahri is dead here. Is Rengar and Ornn dead here? I think Ornn's just going to leave as he takes 165 damage off this MF out of 2,500 HP. Zac cleaning up the sonar and Rengar will surely fall as well to the MF. So basically their entire team died except for Lucian. A bit of an overplay there on the tower. I feel like maybe the dragon into tower into reset as opposed to trying to dive. Obviously everyone's still kind of like around the level 10 level threshold. Going to take a lot of damage off those towers still. We're going to take the mid lane here. Uses his W very, very nicely and kills the Zac. So nullifies the CC there. Very smart, because obviously if he had have been CC'd from Zac, Zac could have used his Q on Lucian and onto the Ornn and pulled them both under the tower, and Ornn probably would have died from the aggro. So very good reaction time there. Maybe he was anticipating it. Either way, 2.2k on the side of the Ornn, 6, 1, and 3. We have 9 KP out of 19, almost a 50% kill participation as a tank. Has the TP up here, surely he'll go towards the side lane. So we have the Negatron Cloak and the Winged Moonplate picked up. Obviously, this builds into a Force of Nature. Force of Nature, a very, very strong item at the moment. He needs to split up some of his resistances. Obviously, Ahri is still quite fed. This Riven is doing no damage at all. She's very, very behind. She should just be splitting and putting pressure on the map. She has no agency in fights at all. Don't know why she's even looking to fight this Rengar. This Rengar is going for kind of like a really tanky and annoying build as well. I've seen it a couple times so far. Divine Sundra into Death Dance. Obviously makes Rengar have a lot of healing with his autos, and if he gets a shutdown, he's going to have... Oh, let's see what happens here. Really good engagement by the Alistar, actually. Still not dead. As you see the Renata ult hit. We can pick up the Ahri here. Just whiffs the ult a little bit to the side. Picks up the Ahri on the W there. If his ult has probably like 20 degrees to the right there, I think he would have hit MF and Renata as well. So unluckily, Zac leading the fight here. Still very tanky as well. Pushing the MF and the Renata off. So Zac's zoned here. Let's see if they can't kill. Zac splits up into his passive. And we have Riven's TP coming through, so surely that'll save, yeah. Ooh, nice little culling out of Lucian there. Unfortunately, can't finish him off. Let's see what Ornn decides to do now. So we have a bit of an ARAM going on. 21 to 18, 7, 1, and 3. 139 CS, 18 minutes. Still very on par for like a 7.5 to 8 CS per minute game, which is very, very good. Obviously, we know for like a tank, tanks have a really hard time clearing waves. It's just kind of a bit clumsy, a bit clunky, a bit awkward to clear waves with tanks when you're kind of like, even you just walk top, you can't eliminate waves straight away. You have to commit a fair bit of mana and everything to one-shot waves. Whereas like obviously a Riven with Gore Drinker can just press W, Gore Drinker, and the wave's dead. Renekton, Gore Drinker Q, the wave's dead. All those kind of champions have obviously really good wave clear, and they obviously have a bit of mobility as well. Ornn just kind of has to walk everywhere. So you have to have that foresight to get to fights on at the right time. Riven putting some pressure on the bottom side of the map, so obviously we're going to go bot here to stop her from taking tier 2 tower, because tier 2 tower will get Riven to her spikes. Riven definitely still a champion that can operate as a drain tank very effectively once she has Gore Drinker and Death Dance. Doesn't really need much more. She has the Gore Drinker into double longsword as she goes to take some resources off the Ornn. Ornn has to attend the wave. Rengar pinging on the way to the Riven. Dude, he just did so much damage then. Is his W actually called Bellow's Breath? Maybe I'm thinking of another champion. I can't remember. Anyway. Riven gonna fall to the... Oh, Rengar's E goes wide. Will Riven fall? One shots the wave. Lovely. Ornn, I feel like, has a bit of mana problems as well. I saw a few people in his chat, because I was watching the other day. A few people in his chat were asking about going tier on Ornn. A few times in this game, I think, because I've watched this game before, a few times in this game I noticed that he kind of was like going pretty close to but in the way that he's experimented so much with his builds, he knows that he doesn't really like going for the tier. He'd much rather opt into other items. He doesn't usually go for anything other than conditioning and overgrowth when he goes resolve as well. Obviously very good scaling runes to help him kind of translate into the late game where Ornn obviously shines. A 1 and 7 on the side of a Riven, obviously an extremely strong champion, really struggling against this Ornn, making it work. I'm going to backspace here, I've gone off a little bit. Lucian getting hard engaged on by the Zac, flashes away. Zac has no passive for this fight. As we hit an ult on cancelling the MF out. No. Oh, Renata. Ornn almost kills the Lucian. Renata almost wiping out the Lucian there. Ahri going straight in, getting exhausted immediately. Rengar hitting a beautifully and Ahri falling. Also 3 dead. 3 kills, no deaths on the side of the Ornn's team. Let's see what they do next here. Baron is up. Will they go for it? Zac is dead. It's only Riven and... who's the other champion? Riven and MF left. So they go to take Dragon here, playing for the soul condition still. Maybe they don't have time. It's only a 10-second death timer. Rengar will fall here, actually. Oh, or will he? Ooh, very, very close. Ooh, Riven almost killing people with just one item. Still the champion, still in the game. Pretty unlucky there. MF does get a shutdown on the Rengar as well. Might lead her to a next spike. Let's see what the team does next. Going for the Baron. Bit risky with no Rengar but Zac. Or we're just going to clear some vision here. Because in points like this where there's kind of a bit of a stalemate, like you can't really do anything realistically on the map, it's not a bad idea to just get vision. So one of the things that like I see a lot of people that they just don't know what to do, you can just play vision around Baron and like force the enemy team to make mistakes. Like say for example you have an Ahri or like whatever, an Alistar even in this case, someone like walks up, like you clear the top side up near Baron, you can literally just stand in a brush and wait for someone to come and face check you. Face checking is a big mistake. You can just stand there and wait for someone to come up, get a pick easily. Like, Alistar is obviously very tanky and it cleanses CC. Just walk away after you get that one pick. It's immediately a 4v5. You have agency around the map. They obviously have to go back under their 2-2 tower, or otherwise they'll get wiped into 4v5. Well, they should get wiped into 4v5. Little things like that. Even if there's nothing to do on the map, there kind of is. Like, you should be posturing kind of where the Rengar is now, clearing out that sort of vision. They don't have a crazy amount of face check. Obviously, the Ahri can ult in, or Zac can Ian, but you're committing really hard by ulting or Ian in here. So, like, with this Rengar, this is, like, really smart what he's doing. Obviously waiting for... Oh, Rengar went straight into Black Cleaver, actually. That's interesting. So, you could even hard engage with Ornn here. We see a few floating around mid, and Ornn's ult obviously very, very effective at getting picks. As we E in here.
This is how the fight starts.
Ooh. Ooh, we may be overcommitting here. Eats the charm. Alistar flashes over the wall. 3-man ult. Renata hitting the Ornn. As we get a 3-man ult. Lovely. Rengar jumping straight onto the MF. MF eating... Oh, Riven just destroying their backline. Never mind. See, like, if Riven wasn't so far behind, she probably could have killed, like, 1 or 2 there, actually. Because a lot of their frontline was committed onto the fight already, past where they were. Unluckily. Lucian's very, very fed now. Continued on. Very, very good ult by Ornn there. It's obviously pretty hard to fight Ornn in a choke. You just ult people. Alright, we pick up the Baron, we reset. He obviously ran out of mana there, so as I was saying before on Ornn's mana problems, TPing for a bit of tempo. Let's move forward. We have Sunfire Aegis, Force of Nature, Thorn Mail, Warden's Mail, and a Kindle Gem and Merc Treads on the side of the Ornn. I think, obviously, the Thorn Mail helps Ornn's lack of damage. The more that you hit Ornn, obviously, it's going to cut your healing. It's going to cut your healing as well as obviously do damage to you. So Thorn Mail could probably help out of his lack of damage. Quite good into the Riven, obviously cutting her healing. Thornmail is one of Riven's like strongest counters, and also has like a lot of armor, which is a stat that Riven struggles against, as I've said before. Cutting Zac's healing as well. Let's move up here. Zac looks to be caught a little bit. Nope, he's away. So we're starting to get our ornaments. Obviously, Ornn's Sunfire Aegis is upgraded, and then everyone else is going to be looking to get their items upgraded too. So the later this game goes, it's just going to get scarier and scarier. Level 15 Ornn. Level 13 mid as well. He's the highest level in the game and still has a really good CS number for the amount of KP that he has. He has 16 KP, so over 50% KP as a top lane is quite... Like, as a top, you should be aiming for about 40 to 50 as Ali overcommits, but they've used Zac ult and Ahri ult as well. It's... Ooh, maybe this is a bit of a sketchy fight. Takes like 100 damage off this MF. He's so tanky. Eats the entire MF ult and takes about... not even a quarter of his HP. Alright, we're going to try and base here for this Riven. Ahri trying to stop the base is obviously pretty smart. He's just so tanky. Like, normally if someone E'd forward like that, you just overcommit, right? But this Ornn's just like, walks away. Riven doing a good job now. This is what the Riven should be doing, and what you should do if you're really behind is you should be just putting pressure on the map. Obviously, you're pretty obsolete in fights, so it's smart for you to be pressuring the side of the map. Like, you kind of splitting still does a lot of work, whereas you in fights would do no work. So grouping with your team kind of doesn't really do anything. Unless you have a key role to play, like maybe if you're an Ornn and you're behind, your ult could still be really effective. But if you're playing like a Bruiser that's not going to kill anybody and they're just going to get one shot, your value drops drastically. If you're ahead, obviously you're essential in fights, so it could be good for you to attend. So the Ahri get picked by the Rengar. She's a lovely E on the Ahri. Ooh, cancels the E with his E. Very well played. This could go pretty south here. Ahri obviously pretty strong. Still got 2 dashes, so I don't really see a world in which he dies. But this Ornn is so tanky. Just brittles the Zac there. Ahri has 2 more. Ooh, uses one of her spells there. We kill the Ornn. Oh my god, he's so tanky. Triple. What? In what game does an Ornn ever get a triple kill? Like, this is the only guy that could ever make this work. Holy shit. Just so tanky. Like, literally just standing there, autoing them to death with brittle. Still a crazy amount of damage. 10, 1 and 9, 33 kills total. I just don't think... Riven's... Like, they're literally healing him. I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a 2v1 angle. Riven's doing more damage to herself. Like, what? And execute abilities did 200 damage. Like, that's... Ugh. Okay. He's so ahead. Alright, we're going to push down mid here as they deal with the bottom wave. Renato and Zac both coming alive in a second. Ahri got 4 seconds on her death time still. Let's try and get some objectives off the map before they respawn. We push it out here. This could be the end. Nice knock-up from Ali there. It's actually really nice having this Alistar on the team, because and even the Ornns, a lot of anti-engage for the Zac. Zac can be really oppressive into the right comps. Like, obviously, a lot of champions really struggle with getting E'd on by Zac. Some champions that don't have gap closers can just get bopped up by him, and it just feels impossible to get away from a fed Zac, especially if they have good follow-up as well. So we're just going to keep wandering around the map, taking a few things off until the appropriate objective spawns. Taking down a Raptors, keeping that CS per minute up. Going to back up here. They're obviously engaged. Let's see if he's able to end the See if he's able to end the rest of the game off cleanly here. Zac engaging. We have the Lucian flash into stopwatch. Zac will fall here. Ornn is just an absolute titan, knocking everybody up. REing forward, dying straight away as well. Renata flashes away. Surely that is the end of the game. Let's just skip ahead. If you guys want to watch Makkro, guys, make sure you go check out the links in the description below. If you like this type of educational content and review gameplay, I've got a bunch of spicy ones coming up. I hope you guys enjoyed this gameplay nonetheless, and a subscription would be absolutely amazing, as well as some feedback. Really enjoy watching this guy. The kind of aggressive fashion and the very mechanical fashion in which he plays Ornn is it's interesting to watch because you just don't see a lot of it out of as Riven flashes in and just gets absolutely one shot. She has only just picked up the Death Stance, whereas the Ornn is literally building his last item. Snipes the Riven with his ult there. We finished 12, 1, and 11. We have a 23 KP out of 37. That's about a 55 to 60% KP. Absolutely amazing gameplay. Almost an 8 CS per minute as well. Just really, really well played overall. Everywhere. All right. Thanks so much for watching, guys. As I said before, go check out his links below. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.